Movies are able to predict a lot about our society. They're able to reveal where our society is headed through the clues that they provide. So, Ready Player One is a movie that took place 7 years ago. Now, during this time, I did not see the movie, but fast forward 7 years later, I just recently felt compelled to see this movie. Um, Wade Owen Watts is our hero. He's the protagonist, born August 12th, 2027, which means that this is taking place in the future. This story is taking place in the future. He lives with his Aunt Alice and has a neighbor called Miss Goodmore who looks after him. After the corn surf droughts, which means there was a famine and a food shortage in the land, and the bandwidth riots, which means there was vandalism and destruction that taken place. It sounds like society had collapsed, the government had failed the people. There was this sense of lawlessness. People stopped trying to fix problems and just tried to outlive them. But Wade's parents were not able to survive these times. So fast forward to 2045, Columbus, Ohio is now the fastest growing city, and this is where Wade lives. Two scientists decide they have the answers to these problems. They have the solution. So they are the creators of Gregorius Games. And within Gregorius Games is the Oasis. So James Halliday and Ogden Morrow are the creators of the Oasis. This is a virtual reality headset that people can place over their heads to escape the normacy of their lives, which seem to have no destination. Within this virtual life, they live as avatars. The limits of their reality is their own imagination. They can go somewhere without actually going anywhere. So the dangers is that their actual lives are deteriorating. Their homes are falling apart. Their health and well-being is being neglected. Yet in this virtual world, they live perfectly and can do anything and go places like Vacation Planet or Sin City Casino. They have unlimited powers. People come to Oasis because of all the things they can do, but they stay because of all the things they can be. Tall, beautiful, scary, different sex, a different species. So the thing is that once they take this headset off and they face their own true selves, it's going to cause them to be more and more discouraged with their own true selves when they fall more and more in love with their avatar self. Now, eating, sleeping, restroom breaks are about the only thing that they do in reality. So in this virtual world, they are living on their own terms and they're creating the scenarios that they want to live. Now, during this virtual reality Oasis, everyone is in search of this golden Easter egg, which is supposed to be the answer to all of their problems. It's supposed to provide wealth, security, just a well-being of life that they no longer are living because they're now living in a collapsed society. So our hero, Wade, he lives in the Stacks. The Stacks is like this inner city high-rise. It's like the ghetto. It's all of these trailer-like homes stacked on top of each other like a high-rise building. Not too far away is IOI Plaza. So IOI Plaza is like this hologram in the real world. This is where the elite reside. This is where the 1% very wealthy and rich are. And then there's the suburbs where Artemis, who's known as Samantha, resides. So she's living a little bit better off than Wade is, but yet she's still struggling. So we have the very poor, the middle class, and then the 1% elite living in close proximity of each other, yet living very different experiences. So Wade, he does not clan up and get into groups like the others as he's playing this virtual reality game, the Oasis. He is an individual thinker. He thinks outside of the box. He's not hive-minded. And this gives him an advantage in the beginning and allows him to get ahead of most of the others. Also, within this virtual reality world is emotion suppressing software. So people don't have to face their emotions. They don't have to work out anything or resolve or evolve in life. They can just shut down and suppress their emotions as they would in the real world. So the dangers of this is that they don't have to handle anything. They're able to give up easily. And their lives are able to keep restarting over in this virtual world, even though in their actual life, they're not able to do that. They're not able to just keep starting over and starting over. But this virtual world allows them to lose all their money, lose their life, and yet still continue to live and start again. None of the citizens in the actual world have any weapons. They're at the mercy of IOI, who is like this dark military force who has all these weapons and that is having this authority over the people. So it's like almost like a dictatorship type society where the elite have all the power and the regular citizens are powerless. So IOI, they have these drones that can be sent out to target and attack people and shoot out weapons and shoot out bombs that can explode people's living quarters for whoever is a threat to them. So the drones that we see today, they're not just for taking pictures. Some of them are weaponized, and that is what this movie is kind of revealing. So now we get to Nolan Sorrento. Nolan Sorrento is the antagonist. He's the villain. He is the CEO of IOI. And within IOI is the Loyalty Center. This is where they send the chosen ones who are a threat to IOI's wealth and domination. So anyone who is starting to make advances in the game, IOI sees them as a threat. And they capture these people and send them to the Loyalty Center. Now, in the main society, the Loyalty Center is made out to be like a type of FEMA camp. They're made out to be the good guys. They're made to seem like if you fall on hard times and you can't pay your bills, then you can go to this shelter in the Loyalty Center and they'll allow you to work off your debt and get back on your feet. But in actuality, it's actually not the case. Once people are sent to the Loyalty Center, they're treated as slaves, and they're known as the Sixers, and they work for IOI. They're made to work for IOI. And the reason that they're known as the Sixers is because they don't have any name. They go by codes. So they're made to wear these helmets with these numbers across the helmet that all start with 6. And they're under complete control. So they don't have autonomy over their lives. They don't have free speech. They're under the domination of this Loyalty Center, which is within IOI. Now, this kind of reminds me of the Mark of the Beast, because the Mark of the Beast is like 666. And these people are forced to wear this helmet that starts with 6 and be known as the Sixers rather than having their own name. So it's almost like these people are being subjected to like this mark that dominates over them. Now, the opening theme song is Might As Well Jump and I Hate Myself for Loving You. And all of it seems to give this subliminal message to give up on life, to give up. Now, Nolan Sorrento, the CEO of IOI, he acquires the Orb of Osiris. Now, this Orb of Osiris is an impenetrable magic shield that he has placed over the golden egg. So even when someone has reached that point where they should be able to receive this golden egg, he has put this force field up to keep them from receiving their reward. The only way to break this force field is by a magic spell. So IOI, they're all about this dark magic and spells and keeping people in poverty. So so Wade Owens, our hero, because he's a pure soul and he's an individual thinker, he's able to see right through Nolan Sorrento. And he tells him, a fan knows a hater. And he tells him that he doesn't believe that the creator of the Oasis, James Halliday, would ever want someone like Nolan Sorrento to win this game. He would want someone with a good, pure heart to win this game, and someone with good intentions to win this game. So this then offends Nolan Sorrento, and his mask is off. He becomes this maniacal overlord. So to me, he becomes the devil. Nolan Sorrento reveals himself as this evil force. So now Wade is one of the only ones who goes to this type of library, and he speaks with this curator. And through his interactions with this curator, he's able to gain access to the first clue. So where everyone else is trying to win the game by actually winning the game, he learns that the creator of this game, James Halliday, he wanted to go back in time to a simpler time in life, where life was not as complicated. And so with this clue, Wade was able to get the first key. So there's 3 keys within this game, and they're all the keys of life. And so during the course of this Oasis game, everyone is trying to crack these codes, and there are these 80s movies with these 80s theme songs, and there are all of these clues that people are searching for to be able to get these 3 main keys before they even can get to the golden egg. And it's those with a pure heart and who's able to get into the mind of James Halliday that are able to win these keys. So once Wade earns the first key, he now is a major target for IOI. Now this causes him to become very popular, and of course he's no longer a loner. He's now acquired a few close friends. And Artemis, once she sees that he's won this first key, she knows the dangers that he's really in. He doesn't realize the danger he's in. So she, because her dad was taken to the loyalty center and his life was terminated because he wasn't able to pay his bills, she then goes and reaches out to Wade and lets Wade know that he needs to lay low because he's now in danger, real danger. And she also reveals to Wade that she sees a good light in him. She sees that he's a pure soul and that he has the potential to win this golden egg. So with that, they kind of become partners, and Wade is able to then win the second key. So Wade learns through going through the curator and going through these 80s movies. He finds a clue. He finds the second clue and realizes that James Halliday regretted taking a leap of faith and kissing the woman that he loves. Now, everyone had been taking the leap of faith in this game because they cracked that code. But it was because Wade and Artemis had become a couple and they had love for each other. When they took the leap of faith, they were able to transition to a new dimension in the game. IOI then was targeting both Artemis and Wade. And so once they closed in on them, Artemis sacrificed her own life to allow Wade to escape, because she knew that he would be the one to break this to win this game and to break this domination off of them, this evil force off of them. So she's then taken to the loyalty center, and Wade is still keeping in contact with the curator to try to learn the third clue. Now Nolan Sorrento becomes desperate, and he sends out his drones to Wade's living quarters, and Wade tries to warn him that he's not there. Yet the drones are sent to Wade's living quarters anyway, and it takes out a whole center. So Wade's aunt is taken out by this explosion, and also his neighbor, Miss Goodmore, is taken out by this explosion. Yet Nolan Sorrento, he's kind of indifferent to it. He's like, well, it's all business, it's not personal. So this is goes to the elite, some of the one percenters, to them, regular people's lives don't really matter the way they consider their lives as mattering. So Sorrento sending these drones out to explode Wade's living quarters, it really meant nothing to him because these are people that were so-called beneath him. Wade puts all of his focus into getting the third key, and he learns through the curator and different clues that James Halliday regretted losing his best friend. He regretted having his best friend sign a contract that caused a rift in their friendships. So with that information, Wade was able to then gain the third key. The third key, which was like the keys of life. Now within the Loyalty Center, Artemis was able to break the spell off of the Orb of Ostervox. And that allowed Wade to then move forward and be able to reach the golden egg. Now, during this time, there's all this spiritual warfare. There's Artemis, and Wade has encouraged the regular citizens to band together to fight the forces of darkness of IOI. And so, while the citizens have come together to fight the good fight against IOI, Wade is able to go forth and now reach this wizard who was going to present him this golden egg. But once Wade is presented this contract to sign, he realizes that something is off because they're just providing him money, and he was about to sign it with greed in his heart. So he chose not to sign the contract, but by doing so, then he was transported to the childhood house of James Halliday, the creator of the Oasis. And then James Halliday was able to present him the real golden egg. So once Wade is there and he sees that James is not an avatar like he is, he asks James, "What are you? Are you still alive?" James says no. And he asks, "Well, what are you?" And James kind of evades the question. But we get the sense that James is a spirit of himself. And then as Wade looks over, he sees the childhood version of James. And he sees where he's this little innocent boy playing this video game. And he realizes that this is where it all began. And this is where the seed was planted for James to then become the owner of his own video game company. Now, in the real world, everyone can see this glow on Wade because he's holding this golden egg. And the game is over. So the forces of darkness have lost. And we see where Nolan Sorrento is arrested, and all of those who worked with him are arrested. And so justice is served. Now, this story, it goes to reveal that, for one, these drones are weaponized. For two, there is like this elite society that wants to keep the rich rich and the poor poor. Yet, even after society had completely collapsed, those with a pure heart were able to prevail and come up with positive solutions to help the homeless and to help those who were in despair. So it just goes to show the power of living positive, that you can make a difference and actually help those who cannot help themselves. I guess the moral of this is that even when everything is collapsed and we're living in a lawless society, there are still those with a good heart that can make a difference and that can help the lives of others who are defenseless in helping their own selves. And it's just promoting live with a good heart and live not just for yourself, but for the ability to help others. And it also reveals that, again, this Loyalty Center is like a form of a FEMA camp. We can't always trust the FEMA camp or those organizations that are so-called designed to be a rescue in times of crisis. Sometimes it's best to try to survive outside of going to these FEMA camps. They may not always be what they seem. So with that, I want to thank you for watching this video, and I pray that you all be blessed.